Every now and then, a movie comes along that forces you to ask deep existential questions. Questions like, why does everyone in this jungle have such incredible upper body strength? And was Dwayne Johnson contractually obligated to be thrown through every wall in Brazil? These are the burning inquiries inspired by The Rundown, 2003, an action comedy that is somehow both aggressively mediocre and absurdly entertaining. Directed by Peter Berg, the film attempts to be Indiana Jones for the protein powder generation but ends up feeling more like a jungle-themed episode of Wipeout. The plot is a study in efficiency, or laziness, depending on your perspective. Beck, played by Dwayne Johnson, is a retrieval expert, which is action movie shorthand for big guy who gets sent to fix other people's mistakes. His final assignment is to drag Travis, played by Seann William Scott, a spoiled man-child, out of a Brazilian jungle where he's searching for a mythical golden artifact. Along the way they encounter Christopher Walken's Hatcher, a villain who runs a local mining operation with all the subtlety of a Saturday morning cartoon character, and Rosario Dawson's Mariana, a revolutionary who is given a grand total of 2 personality traits, determined and attractive. Let's address the elephant in the room. The Rundown isn't a good movie. It's not even a good bad movie. The script feels like it was cobbled together during lunch breaks, with dialogue so uninspired it makes you nostalgic for Michael Bay's Transformers franchise. At least the robots knew how to banter. The story drags its feet between action sequences, seemingly uninterested in making you care about anyone or anything happening on screen. And yet, despite all this, the movie is somehow impossible to hate. This is largely due to Dwayne Johnson, whose sheer likability carries the film on its broad Samoan shoulders. Watching Johnson, it's easy to see why he became a superstar. He moves through the chaos with an almost irritating ease, delivering beatdowns and one-liners like a man who knows the audience isn't here for plot. They're here for him. Seann William Scott's Travis, on the other hand, is an entirely different story. Imagine taking the most annoying parts of American Pie's Stifler, removing the charm, and then dropping him into a jungle. That's Travis. His constant wisecracking and juvenile antics make him less of a comic foil and more of a character you actively root against. By the halfway mark, you're not asking, will Beck retrieve Travis? But rather, could he leave him there, just this once? Then there's Christopher Walken as Hatcher. Walken is a treasure in the way that watching a raccoon dig through trash is a treasure. You're not sure what's happening, but you can't look away. His performance oscillates between menacing and completely unhinged, often within the same scene. There's a monologue where he compares his mining operation to the Tooth Fairy, and it's delivered with such intensity that you begin to wonder if Walken thought he was in an entirely different movie. As for the setting, Brazil is reduced to a collection of jungle cliches, sweaty locals, angry mercenaries, and a suspicious abundance of conveniently placed vines for swinging. The film's approach to Brazilian culture is the cinematic equivalent of someone shouting "Ei caramba" and assuming they've nailed it. It's a shame because the lush environment could have been a character in its own right, but instead it's just a backdrop for increasingly improbable stunts. Speaking of stunts, the action sequences are where the movie fully leans into its own stupidity, and honestly, it's better for it. Watching Beck cartwheel through the air after being hit by a bull is absurd, but it's the kind of absurdity you can't help but respect. The fight choreography, particularly in a scene involving whips, feels like someone watched The Matrix and thought, what if this, but dumber? It's chaotic, illogical, and undeniably entertaining. Still, for all its mindless fun, The Rundown leaves you with the nagging feeling that it could have been more. Rosario Dawson's Mariana, for instance, has the potential to be a fascinating character, but the film sidelines her in favor of more screen time for Travis, who spends most of the runtime acting like a human mosquito. The artifact they're all chasing, some generic golden trinket, has less narrative weight than an episode of Dora the Explorer. And yet, despite its many flaws, The Rundown is hard to completely write off. It's a movie that doesn't try to be profound or meaningful, it just wants to entertain you for 100 minutes. In that sense, it succeeds. It's dumb, loud, and occasionally hilarious. Like the cinematic equivalent of a frat party you didn't mean to attend but ended up enjoying anyway. So, is The Rundown good? Absolutely not. But is it worth watching? Absolutely yes. Because sometimes you don't want nuance or depth or logic. Sometimes you just want to watch The Rock get hit in the face with a fruit. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Quirky Critic signing out.